In this week's episode of the Houndsman XP podcast, we're heading back to the river thickets of the Rio Grande. I traveled north to central New Mexico to hang out and chat with Mr. John Rutter. He's a passionate raccoon hunter, he's a passionate cat hunter, and most importantly, he is the president of the New Mexico Houndsmen Association, and he helped revitalize the club after the New Mexico Houndsmen Association took a brief hiatus. So John was the first raccoon hunter I really got to know, and I got to meet him at one of the UKC night hunts. And after we talked for about 10 minutes, I knew this is the kind of guy I want to have on the Houndsman XP podcast. He's representing hound hunting in the highest levels. He's helping to establish an organization to perpetuate legal hunting of hounds on well-managed game populations throughout the state of New Mexico. And he's boots on the ground. He also was just cool to talk to, and I was laughing a lot and enjoying his company along with all the other members of the New Mexico Houndsmen Association. And it was cool to just experience something for the first time that I had never known, which is raccoon hunting at night. And we'll bring up some of that stuff in this episode, but that was 2 years ago, so there's a lot of cool stuff that's happened since then. And in this episode, you're going to hear me referring to meeting with Fred. If you guys remember, I had the episode with Fred Moore. This was on the same day. I traveled north to interview these guys, and I just wanted to take a brief moment to recognize our patrons and how much they help this show. It's because of our patrons that allows me to go to places and interview people in person, get this really high definition and authentic footage. And I'm also getting a lot of video footage now, and I'm traveling more for the show, so it's finally happening, guys, and I'm really excited. So to our patrons, thank you so much for helping out the show. This is the exact kind of content that we want to bring to you, along with the other members of the team that are... Chris is always traveling around getting awesome stuff. So I just wanted to take this moment to make a very special thank you to our patrons of Houndsman XP and all our listeners, because we couldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for any of you. But I was fortunate enough to travel north and get these guys in person, and it was awesome. I had such a great time, and I definitely... I'm going to be doing it more often. I already have been. Stay tuned to our patrons. Check the Patreon page. You're already going to see the videos of who I'm collaborating with and where there's going to be awesome new content coming in. So, I'm going to keep this pre-roll as brief as possible. Everybody, thank you so much for your support of Houndsman XP, and enjoy this talk with me and Mr. John Rutter. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to the Houndsman XP podcast. I'm in the heart of New Mexico coon country, the Bosque of North Central, you'd say? Central New Mexico?
Central New Mexico.
Central New Mexico. My guest today, I've been trying to wrangle him for a long time, John Rutter, the president of the Houndsman Association, New Mexico Houndsman Association. Welcome, bud.
Thank you, Seth. Glad to be here today.
This is my first outdoor recording, and I've stepped up my recording game just a little bit. So hopefully my sound quality reflects that. This is part of the logistics of taking it to the next level.
To the next level. The challenge is being outside too.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different variants.
Well, this is a great spot though. It's quiet. It's snowing in June.
Yep.
This is one of the largest intact cottonwood forests
in the world. Yeah, largest intact cottonwood forest in the world.
Dang. Yeah, well, I just planted 3 cottonwoods at my house, and I'm hoping they're not females.
Oh,
I don't want this.
I have a big one at my house, but I think it's a big hybrid, and so it doesn't get the cotton on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the males also just put the pollen I'm allergic to, so I'm just like,
yep.
Do I take snow or pollen?
It's I don't know. It's like a battle either way, because then you got all this cotton.
Yeah.
Or you deal with your allergies, but once we get this cotton on the ground, then we're dealing with fire hazard.
I was gonna say, is it super
because
flammable?
This stuff, if you would put a match to it, I mean, it'll light up and it'll just travel. You'll just see it go. It's nuts.
Maybe a good way to get rid of it.
yeah. When I was a kid, we used to play with it, but it's nowadays you don't do that kind of thing anyway. But
well, I mean. You still can.
Yeah, you still can, in safe conditions. But that's like a lot of problems we have, especially now in the heat of the year, is the fires in the bosque and the way this cotton.
Oh, yeah. I actually need to do the same thing. Oh, I left mine in the truck.
Yep.
So
sorry.
We're down here. We were going to meet a good friend of ours, Fred Moore, but he got mistaken with the time that we were meeting up. So I actually drove quite a ways to meet you guys up here, but we'll wait till Fred gets back to harass him. He said he's on a important mission, so we'll wait until he gets back. And it's good to be up here, man. I love the shade and the trees. It's like really so different than what I'm used to. You know.
You're down there in southern New Mexico where you got a lot of desert and sunshine.
When I imagine coon hunting in New Mexico, this is what I imagine.
Oh, of course. Pretty much anywhere. When you think about coon hunting, you pretty much think about good river bottoms and hardwoods, you know.
I went down to the banks of like the Caballo Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing there. It was just a total. The understory was like completely overgrazed, and there's no food. It was like all Siberian elm in there.
Oh yeah, there's nothing for them in there.
Yeah, and so when I came to the Houndsman meeting, both times I was just blown away at how much food and like how dense the population is down there. We were striking a track in like 30 seconds when we turned them loose down there.
Oh yeah, that night we were going to an area that had a bunch of mulberries, and then there's adjacent cornfields across the canal, and a lot of coons like to hang out in there because of those food sources.
Yeah.
And they'll usually follow the food sources up and down the river. So like when the mulberries are gone and they're planting corn or something somewhere else, they'll kind of move a little bit and follow the food source back and forth. So
would you say this is like the mecca of New Mexico coon hunting?
I would think, central New Mexico and the Rio Grande Valley is probably the mecca of coon hunting in the state.
Even picture a better place in this state that I've seen. I'm pretty well traveled in New Mexico.
I mean, there's some other good spots. There's some good spots up in Rio Doso, and up in Jemez.
Yeah.
And they're up along them creeks and tributaries up there. Off them campgrounds, there's coons because people are leaving their trash out, and it brings them mountain coons in. And
I wonder if they're like way better fur quality.
It's in the wintertime, they're furred up way better than we get these raccoons furred up down here in the bosque.
These are like
definitely
scraggly desert coons.
in the summer now with the heat, just like anything, their coats kind of get scraggly. And in the wintertime, there's some pretty good boars. I think biggest boar I've probably seen he was probably about 38 pounds, and he was a big coon. And it was probably December when we caught him, and he was furred up really, really nice. Like a mount-worthy raccoon,
My Saluki weighs 48 pounds.
Yeah, well, the hounds that caught him weighed like 40 pounds.
Well, man, I've gotten ahead of myself. John, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us how old you are and how long you've been running hounds, and a little bit about yourself.
All right, my name's John Rutter. I'm 51 years old. I've been running hounds now faithfully for like the past 4 years, I would say. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Oklahoma. I was born in Texas, and we had a ranch in Oklahoma and some property in Texas. And I stayed with my grandparents. They're more or less my mother and father. And my travel all over with my grandpa. We'd go rodeo, and he had pit bulls and coon hounds. He had just black and tans and blue ticks, walkers, or whatever you name. And he had a breed of blue pit bulls. And when I was growing up, we'd walk them riverbanks in Oklahoma, and he'd hunt them dogs. And I experienced a lot of coon hunting when I was growing up and running hounds. And as I got older and got into high school, well, you know how things progress. You kind of get out of certain things, that they try to instill in you when you were young, and you lose those values. And I just came back in a later point in my life, and I decided, this is what I love, and I need to support these dogs and what they do, and the people that do hunt with dogs, and try to make a positive image for everybody,
When you got back into hound hunting, what was your first dog's name?
Boomer.
Oh,
first dog was Boomer.
Yeah.
When I got back into it, and I got him from a dude in the East Mountains, Mr. Mendez. He was a friend of mine. We had done a TV show together. We were on the Pursuit Channel for a while, and he turned me on to my first dog. And then after that, I'm obsessed again.
Yeah.
And I know they're not cheap, and neither are the gear to run them. And so, man, I'm in 100%.
Yeah.
I have 6 hounds now, and they're all doing real good, and we're having a good time doing what we do.
You run Jax, right?
Yes, I have Jack. She had won the Arizona State Championship. She's under David Anderson, who was her previous owner.
That's right.
And Mr. Anderson had passed away due to some unfortunate events, and he had asked a friend of mine to find that dog a good home, somebody that would hunt her, and she found her way to me, and so she's been much my best dog that I've have.
You got a lot of highlight reels through Jax.
Oh yeah, and she trains She trains my other hounds for me, and we all work together as a team. And then I have a blue tick that's out of Van Johnson blood and Biggerstaff hounds from up in northern New Mexico, and she's coming along real good. She's 2 years old now, and she's really cat minded. She really likes to hunt the cats. She not too much interested in a coon. She just kind of hangs out, but it's neat because I can run these walkers and they'll go tree coons, and then when we hit a cat, that blue tick lets them all know, and boy, we're off on a nice race.
Is the bobcat population pretty good down here?
Yeah, it's pretty decent. The bobcat population's pretty decent. I mean, they're spread out just like any other cats would be, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And but once in a while, when you hit that good track, they always give you a good race, man. And it's when you get to the tree, that reward of seeing that cat up there is pretty nice. And then we'll tree and free them most, 85% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about sin hound hunting. Seriously.
Yeah.
You could seriously run the same animal multiple times in reality.
In reality, yes. You can tree and free and let them go to chase another day.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, when mine succeed, it's over. You know what I mean? So that's kind of I guess there's ups and downs to everything. But now I wanted to lay this down to the listeners. Like, when you think of New Mexico, everyone thinks of southern New Mexico, like the dunes and the mesquites and the desert. But this is like very thick cottonwood forests, and so it's predominantly a cottonwood overstory that's really thick, and then you have like invasive mulberries and like Siberian elms.
Yeah, and salt cedars and just a bunch of different stuff growing on there.
And the understory is super, super thick. To like the Midwestern and Eastern listeners that are coon hunting, I mean, they know what thick is all about.
Nice, thick cottonwood, hardwood forest. I mean, there are spots where you get treed up and you're belly crawling to them trees to get to to get to your dogs.
My first meeting when I came, that was when I first met Fred. Yep. He's a hoot, and I was on my knees behind an 80-year-old man, like crawling through the forest.
Well, I remember that night we were down in a big salt cedar thicket, just south of where we're at right now.
The only thing that was going through my mind as we were crawling on my hands and knees was, please don't let there be a rattlesnake. I was crawling, and I was like, at least Fred will hit it first.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
At least he'll hit it first. We don't have them too bad, really, and where we're located here in central New Mexico. Once you get a little bit, just like say Bernardo, New Mexico, over there. Once you get to that point, then you start seeing them.
So you don't see snakes in here very often?
No rattlesnakes. I haven't seen a rattlesnake from Bernardo to Albuquerque and God knows how many years.
You run in the summer too, right?
I run in the summer. I go out and run from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 9, depending when the weather gets hot.
Dang, and no snake.
And no, we never run into any snakes. The only snakes we run into are bull snakes and king snakes.
Well, good.
Yeah,
those are our friends.
Those are our friends.
Those
exactly,
eat the rattlers.
Which good. It's good to have them because then you seeing them, there probably ain't too many rattlers around.
We were hunting the river in Las Cruces with Lauren, and it's December, so no snakes. But of course, first thing we hit, javelina.
Oh yeah.
And they'll get a dog. So just lightning quick.
Yes.
She was torn to shreds. You know what I mean? You got them in here.
Oh yeah. Well, the javelina usually hang out a little bit more south from here. And
so you're in a good spot.
We're in a good spot. I mean, just because probably the population of people and stuff in the village probably keeps them javelina away from here a little bit.
Yeah.
But they usually they hang out a little south of here, probably 20 miles. And then now right where they had that recent fire, the cemetery fire, that area was thick with javelinas and a bunch of wildlife. And what it has done is it's pushed them. So now in Belen, I was out the other day and I was finding javelina tracks all over. Found some elk tracks, and I never see those animals usually this far south.
So
but that fire just So and I don't like them javelina either. I kind of avoid that area when I'm especially at night because they're really active at night. And then I've had a couple friends charged by them boars, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with that.
Do the dogs break themselves pretty good quickly off of them because they are so dangerous? I mean, they'll just tear a dog up, or do they? Because Lauren's hound came back just slinking, all terrified. I mean, I'm sure she got drilled in the dark by one that didn't really know what happened.
Some dogs are more greedy than others, I think, and other dogs get more intimidated and maybe come back, but and then those dogs that are greedy like that, they like to pull fur, so they'll be the ones in there.
I knew her dogs were gonna go after him.
because they've never seen him before.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're like, this smelly little thing that's not very fast and makes like a bunch of noise. You know what I mean? I knew they were going to lock onto him instantly. And I was with Brett Vaughn.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when they struck the track and they were pushing the track and they were treed and then they went quiet and then they were treed again like a tenth of a mile later.
Yeah.
Brett looked at me and he kind of cocked his eyebrow and he's like, I bet they're on javelina right now, because they'd push the herd and bay it in a little spot.
Bay it up in a pocket somewhere in there.
And then break it apart and keep moving. And then that's exactly what happened. She came back with a huge, just
bummer, man,
right through her. But she was fine. I mean, she wanted to keep hunting. Tough dog.
That's all heart. You got to stop them, or they'll hunt themselves till they hurt themselves for you.
Dude, my dogs will run till they die.
Oh yeah, my dogs will do the same thing. They'll run till they die for me, and we just can't let that happen there.
Yeah, well, you got to be their brakes.
Oh yeah, you got to be their brakes. You got to, like mine. I make them get in the river and the ditch after every tree just to cool down, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then we play some water sports, and then we'll load up and head on out.
That's one thing I wish I could do, is I don't have any water.
Yep.
There's no prairie. There's no water on the prairies out there.
Yeah, that's what's nice here, because if the river's dry, we got water in the canal. So at least there's always something. There's always water to keep them hydrated besides the tank I carry around,
Yeah, dude, your box is sick.
Thank you.
Did you build it?
No, a friend of mine, Ryan Wood, built that.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have him on the show. I actually just texted him like 2 days ago saying I'm hunting with... he texted me, and he's like, what are you doing this fall? And I was like, hunting with you, dude.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Let's go put some bears up.
Ryan's a good guy.
Yeah, dude, he
Ryan's
seems
a
so
good
cool.
guy. Yeah.
If he built that box, I think I'm going to...
Yeah, he built that box. He has a metal fabrication business, and he has a bunch of different kinds of things, and he built that custom box for me, which was pretty nice. I mean, it's going to last me the rest of my life. I don't need another box.
I got one of those folding... fold down soft toppers for my Tacoma, because I wanted to I was like, I'll use it as a box and I'll use it for like camping.
Yeah.
Dude, those things suck.
Oh yeah.
I want one of those. Justin, my buddy Justin has one, and he lets me borrow his that fits in his Tacoma. It fits in mine. They're so much better.
They're so nice.
Oh my god.
They're so nice. Your dogs are safe and contained, and it's easy to transport them, and once they get trained, I mean, they just jump in.
Yeah,
them to.
And that's easy too, because once they realize that's the fun stuff, you know what I mean?
They don't have no sweat. Yeah, I just let them out in the mornings, and they all run and jump in the truck.
Yep. I love it, man. You said you had 6 now.
Right? Yeah, I have 6. Yeah, I have like a boomer. I got a blue tick. I have jacks, and then I bred jacks. That was actually an accidental breeding. I had bred jacks with a dog, another Western Lone Pine Walker from a friend of mine, Scott Michael, Rio, and we have pups. So I kept one of those pups, and she's doing really good on coon. She's going to be a strictly competition coon dog.
Nice.
She hasn't been under nothing else, and she's only hunted solo and with her mom. I don't let her run in the pack.
Gotcha.
And then I ended up rescuing a pup that was mine, because I deal with a lot of rescues and stuff in the state when hounds are abandoned or turned in, and we try to find them homes.
Right.
And this one just happened to be one of my pups, and it just brings the whole reality back around to you, like, wow, you see all these other dogs this way, and it doesn't hit home until it's your dog that you bred. And then you realize, wow, she was in bad shape, but I got her back now, and she's doing good. She don't hunt or nothing. I think she's just going to be a pet.
Yeah.
We
all got some of those.
I tried to get her going and show her, and she's just not really into it, but she's a good dog.
I got 2 of those pets from her.
Yeah.
My wife's over here on the other table just hanging out on the phone. We're going to go check out some cool geography after this. So she's like, let's go together. I was like, yeah, we'll go get covered in cotton, and you can listen to me blabber about dogs.
And then we'll go bake in the desert.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to Joshua Tree next week for her birthday.
Oh,
and it's
going
to be like 120.
That's going to be cool, though. Yeah, it was 121 in Arizona yesterday.
Oh, my God. I know. That's the thing that, man, like, when I was a kid, I used to love summer because there's no school.
Yeah.
Now I hate summer because there's no dogs.
Yeah, there's no dogs.
You can't do anything in that heat anyway.
It's too hot.
You get home.
I mean, in the wintertime, you could always put more on. When it's summer, you can never take enough off to
I can
cool
only
down.
get so naked until I get arrested.
That's right. So it becomes illegal.
I feel like if you were running around naked in the bosque, no one would even flinch at you, though.
No, because the homeless people do it.
That's what you got to break your dogs off of, is treeing a hobo.
Treeing the hobos.
Yeah, that's what surprised me, is when we were down in the bosque, everyone was just talking about how you'll just come up on a camp of them, or like they'll just come skittering out of the bushes.
Yeah, they'll come skittering out of the bushes, or they have structures built in the woods now, and they have their own little homes built, and some of them are pretty extravagant. I mean, there's one in Bosque Farms, I believe, that it's got like 3 rooms and a hallway, and it's got a fire pit dug inside of it, and it has benches made out of cottonwood stumps. They got like an old school hibachi grill in there with charcoal.
I mean, I can
and water jugs, and you go in there at night, you'd think they'd be in there, and you just say, "Hey, hello," and nobody answers or nothing, but yet somebody just poured water on the fire, and it's smoking, and they're still wet on the ground. Yeah, they just went and hid in the forest.
That's so crazy. And I mean, this is a big area.
It's a large area,
but it's like super long.
It's super long.
Gross.
Yeah, it's super long. We're talking maybe at the most, at some spots, maybe a half a mile wide, and that's pushing it on some spots. And then mainly the Rio, the actual forest, is probably, I'd say, 600-700 yards, maybe 1,000 yards from one side to the other.
Yeah, but it's like what,
10,000 miles long from one state to the other in the state. In the area we hunt, it's like we got like a 25-30 mile stretch.
That's what I thought. It was like 1,000 yards wide by like 30 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Lauren hunts in 10 acres.
Can
you imagine that?
Yeah, she probably has a lot more coon population.
Yeah.
And the conditions are probably a little bit better for her too, as well, as far as moisture and coolness. Because, our dogs are good at catching these dry ground raccoons, dusty dry ground coons. When we get a little bit of moisture and we come out, it's a whole different ball game out here. I mean, they're on fire, and other than that, it's running this dusty river.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Even though it's like a super luscious forest for our standards, the ground is still dust.
Yeah, it's so dry.
It's so dry, and this year's horrible.
Oh yeah, this year's bad.
This 2018, 19, and 20, or 18, 19, 20, and now shaping up to be 21 are like some of the driest years on record.
Yeah, well, last year the stretch of the Rio Grande dried up completely. There was no water in it at all. And
do they divert a lot of it into the canal on the side?
They do for irrigation purposes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they divert a lot, but then usually it'll irrigate in them fields, and the residue water will drain back into the drainages, and they kind of drain back into the river at a certain point. You know, so
good clean water.
Coming
water. Through fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like the Game and Fish puts out like a report that's talking about like fish, like how safe they are to eat.
Oh yeah, you can only eat like 5 or 6 trout per year.
If they're less than like an inch, I mean, if they're less than like a foot long, you can only eat like 5.
That.
They say like anything over 6 inches past Elephant Butte is like inedible
because of the mercury
and the PCBs, like mine runoff and stuff.
Yep.
Delicious.
Yeah,
and delicious. I see people with like white bass, and they'll catch like 30 of them when they're running, and just have like a fish fry. And I'm like, you're gonna become like mercury. Your body's
Eventually,
gonna be like quicksilver blood.
Yeah, we keep doing it. That's what'll happen.
So let me ask you a question, because I always think about this. I coon hunted with Lauren in the south, and it's all irrigation ditches with reeds. There's no trees.
Yeah.
So we couldn't tree any. If you had to hunt anywhere in the United States, where would you want to hunt coons?
Oh boy, I don't know. I'd think something like Nebraska, Oklahoma, maybe.
Why?
Something like that.
I heard Indiana's good.
Maybe Indiana as well. Just
I don't know,
because the population of coons is just so much greater.
Yeah.
And the conditions are so good, for all kinds of different reasons. As far like here, we'll like on a UKC hunt, for example, we'll go out and do a night cast, and we'll cast our dogs, and they'll tree. And if we were in Indiana, we could leash our dogs up, pull them off that tree, walk 50 yards away, and recast them.
Yeah.
Here, we got to go back to the truck. We got to drive, a half a mile away, and then we do our second cast. And it's like that for every tree, just because they're sparse.
Yeah.
They're so spread out.
It's a lot more natural densities.
Yes.
That, like Lubbock is like the holy grail of running dogs. I mean, you got extremely dense, artificially propagated populations of jackrabbits. I mean, they're just everywhere. There's fields you can't run because there's too many jackrabbits. They'll split your pack up. And then it's like perfect ground because it's all been manicured. All the rocks are gone. It's level for fields and stuff. So I always kind of like to ask people where they think like it would be the most perfect place ever. But I like New Mexico because it's pretty diverse.
Yes, me too. I love it here because of its diversity.
And you run more than just coons.
Yeah, I choose to run coons and cats with
Lions
my dogs.
and bobcats?
Lions and bobcats, yeah. I won't run them on bear. I just bears put too many holes in your dogs, and I don't like holes in my dogs. So
yeah, you got to have a big pack to get that done successfully.
Plus, you run a pretty big pack. I've run a couple of my dogs with some bear dogs before, and we've put up some bears when they were pretty young, when that's the only experience they have with them. But other than that, it's just been strictly the middle Rio Grande Valley and in the bosque, and I hardly ever go to the mountains or any forested areas. In this bosque, I could find anything that's anywhere else.
I mean, this is, amazing habitat.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you find in here.
There's elk in here.
Oh yeah, there's big herds of elk in here. There's whitetail, there's mule deer, bears, coons.
So do you have problems with a lot of trash races in here, or is it pretty...
My dogs are pretty broke off the trash. I only worry about the coyotes at night.
Really?
Yeah,
Will they harass your pack?
They kind of come into the tree a little bit, and they'll stand off in the distance and bark and howl at us and bark and howl, and my dogs will just stay treed. And other than that, we've all learned our lessons, and the best way learned is the hard way. So, a couple of my dogs have tangled with porcupines. We have a lot of porcupines in the bosque. Skunks. Every houndsman goes through those trials.
We got skunked.
I've had my fair share of skunks, man, and there's been plenty of nights where my wife had told me, "Nope, you're staying in the doghouse tonight."
Dogs sleep outside those nights.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they've learned, and now that they're more mature and come along, they don't trash out on me.
So tell me about your experience in the New Mexico Houndsmen Association.
Well, the Mexico Houndsmen Association, believe it or not, we're here where it all began. We had our first meeting that I organized 3 years ago, and I was voted in president. Anyway, I don't know, I had met this old man, Mr. Fred Moore, and I was bowfishing on the ditch, and we were bowfishing carp. We were taking the carp out of the ditches because they're just destroy everything and all the game fish, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'd always run into that guy on the river, and he was always running his dogs. And then shortly after I met him was with Mr. Mendez gave me my first dog, Boomer. I was like, well, I need to get back into that. I remember doing that with my grandfather, and those were some good times. And so I got that dog, and then, me and Fred just kind of hit it off. And we started talking about how he'd been in New Mexico Houndsmen Association since like 1966, and how they've had their trials and tribulations and good years and bad years, and how they used to do really good. And after I got Boomer, Fred and I, we started talking a lot more, and he asked me to get a meeting going and try to get this club. It was kind of seen as a raccoon club at that point in time, right. Because a lot of guys in New Mexico run big game, so they don't have UKC dogs or AKC dogs. Most of them are mixed breeds. Most big game dogs are mixed breeds. Here in New Mexico, anyway.
Yeah. If you ask any of them, which I have, they're just like, oh, they're New Mexico specials.
New Mexico, yeah. I got two of them. Boomer and the Blue Tick are New Mexico specials. Boomer's a red bone and Walker, and Chloe the Blue Tick is a Walker and Blue Tick.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are all papered UKC Lone Pine dogs.
Which they need to be competing, right?
For the UKC events, they have to be. That's right. Registered dog.
And the poor boy hunts are the ones you can run mixed dogs, right?
Yeah, and the poor boy hunts, any grade dog can come and run and join in the fun.
So you and Fred got together and kind of wanted to revitalize it. Had the club kind of gone dormant?
Yeah, it kind of gone dormant for pretty much just like stagnant, like a stagnant pond. Nothing was happening, and so he asked me to organize a meeting to see if we could get it going again. So I organized a meeting here at the park in Las Lunas, and we had a pretty good turnout, and some strange, odd reason, I was voted in president of the Houndsman Association.
You were young and excited.
I was young and excited, and it was new, and, I dealt with TV and stuff, and this was just kind of right up my alley a little bit. And so I was honored. I took it on. I had my doubts, but I have my goals as well, and my goal is to make not just a coon club. We need the New Mexico Houndsmen Association. We support all sporting dogs.
Yeah. Not
just hounds. We support your coursing hounds. We support your bird dogs. Everybody. We got to be a voice for all them working dogs out there that we all enjoy to run and be out in the field with and hunt with, that we have done for centuries and centuries.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, I think especially in New Mexico, we're such a sparsely populated and spread out population that there's not a lot of people would just prefer to hide up in the woods and just forget that issues that can be happening. But I mean, you guys are battling closures along this river constantly.
Oh yeah, constantly. There's always something going on down here in the Bosque, really anywhere right now in the state.
The closer you get to Cruces and the closer you get to Albuquerque, the more battles we'll be facing.
The more battles we'll be facing, yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to take it from us. I mean, back in the 60s when the club was founded, you used to be able to run this river from, Cochiti all the way to Elephant Butte. And at the reservation, you go to the res and you would get a permit for $5.
That's 400 miles roughly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would buy a permit off a res for $5 and you could hunt all the reses. And you could literally drive from Cochiti all the way to Elephant Butte hunting raccoons.
Dang. Yeah, there's good coursing on the res too.
Yeah. That probably has some great spots.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Just like on the west side of the highway.
Oh, yeah, over here,
yeah.
Up Highway 6. Yeah, it gets nice and flat out there. There's some good spots out there.
Okay.
Great coyote hunting out there, too, in some couple places, man.
Dogs, too.
Yeah.
Coyote dogs.
There's feral dogs out there.
Oh, no, I know, using dogs. So, like, so you guys got the club going, what, you said 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
About 3 years. This is like my third year as president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you, I saw you guys had, like, some booths up at some, like, sporting...
yeah, we did
gatherings, outdoor gatherings.
Yeah, 2 years ago before the world shut down.
Yeah.
We did Game and Fish Sportsman's Expo at State Fair.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a booth there just to promote the Houndsman Association and get some new membership signed up. And we brought out a bunch of dogs. Brought out Jax, who's a New Mexico state champion, and everybody. We brought out different breeds, and we're a pretty good hit there.
Yeah.
And we were asked back. And then, everything happened, and the COVID hit, and so they didn't have it. But I'm looking forward. Hopefully, they'll have it again this next year, and we'll be out there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add I want to try to add more inclusion to the club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get more people in the South activated. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Where would you say the majority of our membership is here? North, Central?
Yeah, well, we got members from... like Washington, D.C., like Washington State.
Wow.
We remember they support us from all over the country.
That's great.
But most of the local members, I mean, it's pretty spread out throughout the state. I mean, as far as the majority of the coon hunters go, we're pretty much right here, located in central New Mexico.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'd be.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how, not poor, but... okay, yeah, poor quality, but it wasn't lame. I had a good time with Lauren, but, man, it's just you can't tree a coon. And I want to see two looking down. It's just you catch them in the reeds, and you just hear the bay up in the reeds. You can't see anything.
You can't see nothing, no action going on.
Yeah. It was cool, though, because you can just road along the side of the creek. Or road along the side of the canal.
I'll road right down the canal road in the mornings. Just dump them out, and I'll road them, and they'll check every little trail. Yeah. And when they hit that hot trail, boom, they dump into the bosque, and you just turn off the truck and sit there and listen to the sweet music and wait till they tree up.
That's what... it always blows my mind, especially in that bosque, is how they're moving so quickly through there in pitch black. I mean, they're just navigating that bike. It's so dark in there. Even on a moon-filled night.
It's still dark.
The canopy is so thick that it just filters through the leaves.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that they can run through there.
All that undergrowth and downfall and it's crazy. And they cover ground like you wouldn't believe.
It is. It's amazing. I mean, I know about covering ground, and even still, that's a whole nother. I don't know how they don't get stuck and impaled. That's what always kind of blew my mind the most.
So once in a while they'll get some pretty good little jabs from sticks and stuff on them, or good cuts and scrapes, but.
I mean,
thankful most of the majority of the time they're all right. The only time I worry about them getting really jabbed or stuck with a stick or something is when they're in a dog box and they got their heads out of the box and I'm driving down some little road. Mm-hmm. And then I worry about, their eyes. Or they're just going to smack them in their nose. That's all we need to do is lose a nose.
Then they'll become true sight hounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So... when do you? So I like to pick every houndsman's brain kind of a similar way because I like to see the diversity of answers. But when do you like to start your pups out here? How old are they?
I'll usually keep my pups in. I'll starting them when they're probably about 6 months old.
You drag,
and then I'll start doing drags and start teaching them to tree when they're I don't know, 12, 15 weeks, when they're still pups, I'll start just doing little drags, playing with a coontail.
Yeah.
I'll put spraying on the coontail or bobcat scent or something on it, whatever I kind of want them to kind of do.
Focus on.
And I'll just play with that coontail, and I'll play with it, or stuffed animal I'll use and give them a stuffed animal, and then I'll get them to where I'll keep them in the side pen of my house, and I'll make a little scent trail with Vienna sausages. And then I'll bury a little Vienna sausage in the ground, and then I'll let them go, and what teaches them to use their little noses, and they'll find those Vienna sausages. And then when I make that transition onto the scent, and then they learn how to drag and tree at home, and then when I bring them out to the forest, well, I let them go with my more mature and experienced dogs, and they just kind of pick it up and learn as they go.
It blew me away how important that is. They have to hunt with their elders.
I think that's a big success key right there. Is you have a good training hound, a good hound that you can use as a trainer. It helps all the younger dogs come along so much, because I mean, we're a team. We're all a team. Oh yeah. And you can only do so much as their handler for them. Yep. You can put them on track. You could try to, if they get off of it, you can bring them back and try to line them back out. But they're not going to get that experience like they have running with that more mature dog.
Dogs speak dog.
Exactly.
That's what I heard from an
old-timer. We just think we speak dog. Yeah.
They, like with my hounds, I thought I could give them like the best training, the best pep talks, whatever, believe in them, and they could go out there and catch the tough hares. But really, honestly, they got to learn from their elders. Yeah. Because with a hare, at least, I mean, again, this episode's really beginner centric because I'm not really that familiar with coon hunting, but yeah. You got to learn to catch a hare. You just got to never give up. Yeah. And pups will.
That's all it is determination and heart. And
it's so hard, and they're so fast that if you can get tired, but if you just keep pushing it, you can.
Eventually, it'll happen.
It can, yeah.
And then when it happens, they turn on for you.
Yeah. And when they see an adult do it,
yeah,
they're like, oh, if I just keep
running. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly. They run so much better when they have that example for them. And then I swear, once they get a couple caught, they just get better instantly.
Yeah, and then once their confidence builds more and more,
they believe in themselves.
That's once they believe in themselves and they get that confidence built up, then they're just unstoppable, man. They'll hunt their hearts out for you.
Do you like starting pups, or do you like having done adults?
I like starting my own dogs.
Yeah.
I like training dogs. I'm not in it to buy dogs and run other dogs that have been trained. I like to train my own dogs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I used to think I enjoyed just having finished dogs because you can just go load up. Let's go catch one. You know what I mean? But I think it has become quite rewarding and I haven't even started my own line either. You know what I mean? One of these days I'm going to have my own lineage, and I imagine that's really prideful as well. I'm still kind of blazing this trail. I'm just super fortunate to have started on like a cannonball
and a good solid foundation.
Yeah. Yes, and meeting all these people, being fortunate enough to interview people like you and Fred and people like Dean and David, all these people that are super knowledgeable, and I get to hear these really diverse like opinions and stuff, and everyone has. There's a lot of good core value knowledge in there, but everyone has a bit of a tweak to their style.
Everybody's got their own way of doing things. You just kind of grasp a little bit from here and there and here and there, and you just incorporate it into
what works for you.
See what works for you, and apply it to what you think will work on your best needs and the way you hunt. Everybody hunts differently.
Exactly. And the thing about coon hunting that I don't know if I love it or hate it yet, but it's the late nights.
Yeah, it's especially in the summertime. It's late nights.
Oh,
and in the fall and the winter, I mean, it gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You can come out at 6 o'clock in the evening, and you'll be back home at 9, and you've already had enough fun for the night.
You see what I'm saying? Winter's just better.
Yeah, and there's no leaves on the trees. They're so much easier to spot.
Exactly. That's the thing. When we came out last time, I came to the New Mexico Houndsmen Association's meeting. Was it like a month ago?
Yeah,
3
about
weeks
a month ago or something.
And man, we were slamming. The dogs were doing awesome, but you just can't see a thing.
You couldn't see them.
They're just so thick. The cottonwoods are crazy.
The cottonwoods are crazy. They're so thick of the leaves, and once they get up into taller branches and off them, you can't spot them at all. Squall and do everything you can, and you still can't spot them.
Yeah, so I've still yet to see two looking down.
We'll get you out here in October for another event, and
that's what Lauren told me to come in November to where she's from, and she said we'll definitely see
October, November, December. Those
the hard part is peeling me away from my dogs.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
I have all these plans to go traveling and go doing all this stuff, and then every weekend I'm hunting. I want to go with Brett on his mules. That's like
that'd be great.
Oh my god,
that'd be great.
That dude's so next level.
Is he?
Dude, he's like riding mules for days straight, catching lions that take like.
I
3
think
days.
he's one of the better line hunters in the state.
He
dry
is so
ground,
humble,
better dry ground line hunters in the state, I should say. And I really like that guy's style.
He's so humble too. You would never.
I'd be honored to meet Brett one of these
Dude,
days.
he's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told her, but I think the way things are kind of going, the trend is that the desert grasslands are shrinking rapidly.
Yeah.
The rain is becoming. I mean, we're just getting more intense droughts, higher surface temperatures. The grass is dying. The shrubs are invading. If I don't move to continue coursing, then I think I'm going to try getting into that dry ground lions. But man, like, I mean, Brett started later in life, so I know it can be done.
Oh, anything.
But you got to go in 2 feet, because as all the houndsmen know listening, this is not a lifestyle you can just do willy nilly, especially that one.
You got to cannonball in and commit, and then just go for it. There ain't no turning back.
Lots of expenditure.
You got to work your butt off.
Yeah, I mean, just keeping the mules going too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And the huge pack. I'll tell you that I don't know if my dogs will be inside dogs if I have that many.
No,
I don't know if I want that many in the house.
Most houndsmen keep them outside. I keep 2 inside, and then the other 4 stay outside.
I got all mine inside.
Are they? Yeah. It happens.
You know, it's like they're quiet.
Yeah.
And they're not like dirty ever, so I don't really care. But they're not. I don't like them in the bedroom.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I'm not gonna act like it's all her. I love their little faces following me around.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're like my little buddies.
Of course.
The sighthounds are so lazy and quiet. They sleep like 20 hours a day.
Well, so do the coonhounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dog's life. I mean, most dogs sleep like that. But the coonhounds too. The ones I keep inside, they're just like couch hounds, man.
Yeah.
And they don't want to just lazy and the mailman will get up and go bark at him and want to come back in and lay down and sleep.
Yep.
But once you get them out in the woods, or once I put the GPS collar on them, they can't contain themselves.
Yep, exactly. You could get my hounds up, which routinely we do. Get them up 3-4 in the morning to get to the prairie by dawn, and let's do it.
Mine in the mornings already know. Oh, he gets up at 3:30, and so they're already going brrr in the yard. Oh, it's time to go play.
Your neighbors are like, "Hey, John's up."
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm fortunate to have some good neighbors.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm lucky. I have no neighbors.
Yeah, that'd be great. Even better, but I'm lucky. They like the dogs. They say my dogs warn them when people come around or whatever.
Sure.
I'm like, well, it's a dang cat in the alley, you know. 2 o'clock in the morning is no fun, but
that's the truth be told. That is the number one reason my dogs sleep in the house at night, in their kennels.
Yeah.
I have a kennel room for them. If you wake me up at 2 in the morning barking, I'm gonna go beat you down. Like, I just can't. I'll fly into a rage. So I'm happy they just sleep in their cages inside,
nice and content.
Yeah, quiet. And then I let them out in the mornings, and they go do their thing.
Oh yeah.
They spend most of the day outside just hanging out. Unless it was 116 at my house last
Man,
week.
that's something else.
And so they were kicking it on the couch.
Oh sure.
They wouldn't even when I have so my kennel room can be shut where they can't get into the main house, but they can go through the doggy door. I kicked them all out, and they were all just in the kennel room because it's like 75 in there.
Yeah, it's so much better than outside. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's rough. I'm lucky. I got 2 big elm trees over the top of my kennel, so the dogs in the back get a lot of shade all day long. And
it's got to be 15 degrees cooler down here in the bosque than it is up in the desert up there, though.
Oh yeah, you could feel the difference.
Oh,
you could feel it.
I'm not even sweating.
Up there we would have been roasting.
Yeah.
And then we came down here into the valley, into the bosque, and it's like 10 degrees difference at least.
It's so nice. I really like this area. This is my first time being in Los Lunas. I've never been down into like Los Lunas proper. You always just drive by it on I-25 heading to Albuquerque.
It's just an exit off the interstate.
Yeah, exactly. So when I started coming down here, I was really floored at how dense this really is down here. You know what I mean? Like, and nice. How really ideal, honestly, it is. So I was really excited.
Yeah, it is. It's a great area. And there's some good, I mean, there's a lot of activities you could do down here besides chase coons. We got some good fishing, and right now the bass, man, out of these ditches, there's some good spots. You can catch some nice bass. And
when you were bow fishing, what was your setup?
I was using a recurve with a cheap fin finder spool on it.
I was using the Zebco 206.
Oh, cool! Yeah, you're doing better than I'm doing.
Click the button.
I wind mine up.
I wanted to do it with my longbow, but my recurve has the stabilizer threading in it.
Oh,
so that's where I mounted my reel to. but the longbow doesn't have that.
What I did, my recurve doesn't have that. So I made I shaped a little piece of aluminum, kind of like this, and drilled a hole in it, and then I taped it and screwed the deal on there, and it works great. And then I started doing that because I hurt my shoulder, and so it was kind of like therapy.
Yeah.
After I had shoulder surgery.
You're not pulling a heavy pound bow for the bow fishing, are you? Like
35, 40? 30 pounds.
Yeah, that's
25
all you need.
pounds.
Yeah.
Like I started with, I used the compound too. I think I had it set at like 28 pounds or something.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need.
I mean, you shatter your arrow on the rocky bottom if you go any stronger.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem with my longbow too. It's 65, and I'm afraid that I'll just shatter those arrows on the bottom.
Oh yeah, like the recurve I was shooting, I think it's a 40-pound bow maybe or something like that, which is pretty much ideal.
I agree. Yeah. You have enough kind of penetration to get down there, like deeper into the water column.
Deeper into the water column, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just walk these canals and just
you
all day long.
It. One season I took 130 carp out.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be so fun. We should do that. Come up here.
Yeah, that'd be nice, too, especially now in the summer and the water's nice and clear.
Yeah, exactly.
And low. I know some good spots.
Dude, I'd be down.
Go for the state record.
100%. Didn't they open up game fishing, too, with the bowfish? Can't you do that now?
I know you couldn't, but I think they have opened up game fish to bow fishing as well.
Carp are always the most ideal anyway.
Yeah, well, that's one of the main species you bowfish.
Yeah.
And they're evasive, so I just take them out of the waters and make it better for them.
My buddy lives in Georgia, and he has those huge light.
Oh, that'd be great, man. Yeah. That'd be cool on a nice boat and go.
Yeah.
I'd like to experience that someday.
I really want to take a coon with my longbow.
You'll have to come this winter. Let's do it.
I got Luminox on it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can see the arrow fly.
Yeah.
And when I miss, we can hopefully find the arrow.
Yeah, it'd stick right in the tree.
Sticking up there, yeah. You tell me. Then you'll need a trained raccoon to go pull it out with its little hands. Yeah.
I believe it or not, we were camped out in Rio Doso once up in Bonito Canyon above Bonito Lake up there. Yeah. And I had my little boy with me. He was like 2 years old. And I was with one of my buddies. And I had this van, this four-wheel drive van. And I'd taken care of the baby, and we were sitting outside drinking beer, and my son was asleep, and we had this bag of bread hanging on this tree, and all of a sudden, all we heard was that bag. Well, what in the world is that? That bag, and my buddy yells out, "Raccoons!" And one of them ran straight up the tree. And the other two took off running with a loaf of bread apiece. And they disappeared in the woods with a loaf of bread. But that one that ran up that tree, I got my fur bearers, I'm going to get my bow, dude. And he's like, all right, I'm taking a coon home tonight. And I stuck that dang raccoon, and it skewered him right to the tree. And he didn't fall out. The arrow stuck in the tree with a raccoon on it. And it was about 40 feet up in this ponderosa pine. And I was like, now how? So we start throwing sticks up at it, and then we figured, oh, well, there's no way we're going to get that raccoon out of that tree. And so we crashed out, and about 5 in the morning, you just hear, whoop! And I'm, what in the world? And I went and looked outside. That raccoon fell off that arrow and right into our camp, and the arrow just stayed in the tree. And to this day, you can still see that shaft in that tree. And that must have been 10 years ago, man.
Dang. That's rad.
That's crazy, but it's fun. Bow hunting with the coons, it's fun.
You know, I wonder how many arrows I'm going to lose, but I don't really care.
Yeah, because they just go flying if you miss.
I'm a decent shot, but I mean, I'm not going to say I'm some Robin Hood or Legolas of the forest or anything, but I think I can get one if they're.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not awesome. That bad.
When we were kids, we used to shoot a lot of 3D.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a competition where they had this huge dead ponderosa, and whoever could, at 50 yards, whoever could stick their arrow highest in the tree won.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's shooting at this tree, trying to get the arrow as high up as they can, and downrange, it just looked like a medieval battlefield.
Oh, all the arrows stuck in the ground
Stuck
all
in
over.
the ground. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They had the same thing. They had this huge open field, and they'd cut the legs off this elk 3D target.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't tell anyone, and they'd put him out there. It was supposed to be like a long-distance shoot. And since his legs were cut off and you couldn't tell in the grass, it made him look like he was way farther than he actually was.
Yeah.
And so people were pinning out like 100 yards.
Right over him.
He was like 55 yards.
Oh,
and they would sail those arrows like 3 feet over his back.
Optical illusion.
Exactly. So, yeah. And that's the thing. Also, man, I want to get you out to see some of my dogs go.
Yeah, I want to go see them go. I think that'd be a blast. I really do. I want to get out there with you and go experience that with you. I haven't done much coursing or anything like that, so man.
We're definitely the minority. in the hound hunting community.
Yeah, we need to push it out there a little bit too more and get the coursing community more involved with the Houndsman
There's another
Association.
courser in the association. I was actually surprised to hear that there was Gail's.
Oh yeah, Miss Gail Goodman. Yeah, she's a great individual. Yeah.
And so she's the only one that I'm aware of. Am I
That's
the only?
just you two.
Yep.
That's you two are the only coursers I know of in the state. Honestly, yeah. You guys are the only ones I know of in the state. There might be a couple other guys, but I just haven't had the privilege.
It's a real small community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very tight, and it's mostly in the eastern half.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
most of the good conditions are for that type of activity.
Exactly. So, do you have any plans for the future for the Houndsman Club?
For the future of the Houndsman Association, I just want to keep doing what we're doing and pushing, and keep having UKC events. We're bringing UKC back to the state of New Mexico. We used to have the regional nationals here, and
here
in the state. There's a pond down there on this preserve that they closed off that we're not allowed to let our dogs on no more. That we used to have water races at and treeing contests, and we used to have a good turnout. And since it went stagnant for a while, they kind of got forgotten about. And now I've been bringing it back and trying to get the UKC meets going on and trying to get these guys out of the woods, these big game houndsmen out of the woods, and then come to some of these poor boy or grade dog hunts that we have. We're making some great meals. Got some nice partners and sponsors such as like Dogs Retreat, Wilderness Freaks, another couple local guys, New Mexico Cazadores, a good friend of mine, Rick Show.
Dude, Rick's spice blends are beast. I've been meaning to give him a shout out on the show for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
His backyard grillers spice packets.
Oh, yeah.
They're so good.
He has the New Mexico Cazadores, and they make calls and do other stuff like that. And then he runs Backyard Grillers, which is he's been on national TV barbecuing stuff up, and he offers his own spice mix and everything, and it's just really killer.
Yeah,
it's
man.
good.
Anytime I have a party, I was like sprinkling that in.
Sprinkle it in and rub it down, man.
Dude, she's in the world. She knows too. Lizzie, huh? When I cook she's like thumbs up, yeah.
Oh yeah, whatever.
No. But anyway, Rick, your spices are delicious, dude. When I first came to the Houndsman Association first meeting, we were having lion too.
Oh yeah, we had lion backstrap. That was a lion that Craig Fishbach had harvested and donated for the meat. So yeah, Rick cooked up the mountain lion fajitas.
They're way better than people think.
You would believe how good they were.
It's like pork.
Better. It was better than pork.
It's very
it was good.
light.
Everybody was skeptical, and once they ate it, nobody could put it down.
It's true.
I mean, it was gone. We cleaned the disco of mountain lion. It was gone.
So, have you eaten a coon?
I have tried a coon before. Yeah.
From here?
From Naboski in a crock pot.
And
made some stew out of it, and it wasn't too bad.
Lauren has eaten her fair share of them.
Yeah.
But we had an episode about that, eating if you should or not. We can. Well, everyone has that moral imperative to eat them. You know what I mean? At the same time, I don't know. Raccoons are kind of.
Well, I see him as a trash bandit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a trash can, but and more. Where there's more people and stuff, of course, there's gonna be eating more trash and stuff. But say these ones down here, they're eating mulberries and corn.
Yeah, that blew me away how many mulberries were down in there.
Oh yeah, you could come down here and make mulberry jelly for the rest of your life if you come and pick mulberries.
It was insane. There was purple ground.
Yeah, the ground is just purple, and it just stains it.
Coons just love that.
They love it.
Oh man,
they get in there so thick you wouldn't believe it. I got game cameras here and there, and some nights I got pictures of 12 raccoons on one photo, and it's just like, wow. Yeah, and it's like, wow, look at them all over there,
It's funny, too, because you're the only person, out of 10,000 people, you'd be the only person in the world that has a trail camera out specifically to see raccoons.
That's just me.
Well, I'm the same way with jackrabbits. I go out on a prairie, and there'll be antelope and elk standing out on the prairie. I'm like, did you see that jackrabbit back there?
I'm the same way. Excuse me. I'm the same way. It's like I put the cameras out and I'll be flipping through the pictures and there'll be a bear and everybody else is like, that's bears in the river. And I'll still going, look at that big old boar coon on that. Look how fat that coon is, you know. Now put it back on the bear. Put it back on the bear. The bear's blurry. Look at this raccoon, man.
We were driving by the plains of San Augustine, and a huge herd of elk ran across the road. It was me, my buddy, who's also a courser, and a rancher that lives up there that was riding with us. And those two are both like, oh man, like admiring those elk. And I was like, did you see that jackrabbit?
Did you see the rabbit? They scared. They spooked up.
The rancher was like, what is wrong with you?
One track mind,
like a 6x6
man.
bull and like 20 cows running across the road.
Conditioned just like your dogs are.
Dude, those elk, they don't put up a good race like a jackrabbit.
Oh, no, not at all. The elk don't. But yeah, like our minds are conditioned like our dogs. You know, we got that one track mind. We're hunting raccoons.
Well, they're also just cooler.
And they're cooler, yeah. They're definitely cooler and more fun. And then the occasional cats, those are great.
So New Mexico's raccoon season's year-round for not the harvest, though, right? Just the pursuit season's year-round, right?
Until this year, it was year-round. It was like an 8-month pursuit season, and we had like a three-month kill season or something like that.
That's in the wintertime, right?
Yeah, it would start in November, and it would end in April. Or May, into March, April, right there. And then this year they've changed it so it's year-round kill season all year.
Oh wow!
All year.
Dang.
They say they're having an issue with an overabundance of raccoons, and you know the big part is where the issues are on these big cities like Albuquerque, where us houndsmen can't go.
Can't even manage the population.
We can't help manage the population to be healthy. Yep. For everybody, you know, and so that's probably where a lot of those issues are.
Right, and so, I mean, I don't think anyone in this world thinks that you're going to strip out the raccoon population with hound hunting.
There's no way.
I mean, more raccoons are killed by raccoons than by houndsmen.
And cars.
Yeah, cars, yeah.
There are more of them are run over by cars than they're shot out by houndsmen.
The state here just passed that Roxy's law.
Oh, goodness.
The trapping ban on public land.
Unfortunately.
And, dude, Western Alliance of Wildlife Biologists.
Yeah.
Outdoor groups, backcountry hunters and anglers. When biologists are the ones that don't want you to be out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, when biologists are the ones that are opposing that law, it's like, it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea, yeah.
And so
they didn't do those people that brought that to the table, they didn't have any idea what they were talking about.
When it's called Roxy's Law, it's totally emotional BS. I was so mad, and they were like coyotes.
It's an action hippie thing. Excuse my quote, but that's those individuals are out there. They're action hippies. They're just out there to walk their dogs and have fun, which they have every right to be.
Of course, but it's like when they're saying that like trappers are killing all these coyotes. I'm like, more coyotes are killed by cars and by other coyotes than ever by a trapper. And even if you took the total trapper catch of the entire state, I guarantee it's a fraction of how many are hit on I-25 alone.
Oh, probably.
Oh,
probably.
Guaranteed. Yeah. I mean, I work in the wildlife field. I mean, coyotes.
They have the corridor. I call it the corridor, the I-25 corridor. We used to do a lot of coyote hunting off that. We'd just go hit the corridor, and man, it'd be just all day long. 15 miles pullover hunt, 15 miles pullover hunt, and every time we'd shoot one.
It's just and I've debated that people that were pro to that law, because I work in a community where there's a lot of people that are like have no clue about really what goes on in the outdoors. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They're like, well, anyway, so and by the end of it, they're like, oh, maybe not. Maybe it's not that big a deal, or maybe I'm always open. I respect people that can like hear, sides and kind of mull over what I'm saying, but like, it's just total. Yeah. I hate emotional based like ideologue laws like that. They're just political points. And, and you didn't do anything.
It all comes down to politics. That's all it is politics. There's no fact based information or studies done.
And the association was super adamant against it. And they wouldn't let us speak.
They wouldn't let us speak. We weren't chosen to speak. And then a lot of the Trappers Association, the Mexico Trappers Association, weren't even selected to speak. Which they should be selected to speak on behalf of what they're trying to support.
So heinous. That enraged me. I was so upset because I
just got railroaded right through.
Exactly. I petitioned to speak and I got turned away.
Yeah, me too.
An individual, they were like, no way.
Yeah, I petitioned to speak on behalf of the Houndsman Association, and then I had my son trying to get to speak And I was gonna just have him hand me the phone, you know.
Yeah.
But no, nobody chose. We weren't chosen.
Yeah,
they chose the antis. They gave the antis more time than.
Well, that's what happens when the law was intentionally crafted and sponsored 100%. I was really upset about that, and I still am.
Yeah,
and it's not going to think about New Mexico is you're not stopping anybody. I mean, the thing is out in the wastelands of New Mexico where it's like between Cruces and Deming, and then from the Mexican border north to the Gila, that's like 9 million acres of public land, and there's nobody out there.
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
And so it's like what, and that's all BLM.
Yeah, that's all BLM land.
Every square inch, and it's like you're stopping people from trapping out there. It's like why?
Yeah.
You know? And there was already laws on the books to prevent people from trapping close to trails.
Off of the trails. Yeah, you had to be so far off your trails, so far off your roads. I mean, it was completely banned in the Sandias, where a lot of foot traffic is, which I understand that. Yeah, that's fine. And you know, nobody traps the Sandias anyway.
I guess that's the whole crux of this argument is even in a state as secure you would think as New Mexico, with such a rich outdoor heritage and really,
farming and ranch heritage, that's a tool that they took away.
Really outdoor centric lifestyle in New Mexico, and I mean a huge part of our economy and recreation, massive hunter population in New Mexico.
Oh, definitely.
It can still happen. It's like the point I'm trying to make is like it can still happen, and it can still. You need to stay aware and. I think it could be overturned. I really do.
There's actually a lawsuit been filed against the state of New Mexico by the National Trappers Association and New Mexico Trappers Association, I believe, that are trying to get this fought in court and whatnot in there.
There's some really amazing work being done by like allies, Sportsmen's Alliance.
Yeah, Sportsmen's Alliance.
And others that are just... I mean, like, I was really inspired by that episode we had about how the Wisconsin Bear Hunter Association has a lobbyist. I mean, we don't have the membership base. Jeez,
I wish some of our meets would look like those warehouses they fill up. Now, that's attendees. I mean, those people come out of the woods to support what they love. And that's what we need to do here in the state of New Mexico. We need to get out of the woods and come out and let your voice be heard and support what you love to do.
Yeah, and that's the problem is it's like we're so rural and spread out. Is that it's like a meeting, you drive 6 hours. I got to drive 3.5 hours to get here. Yeah. And so people are like, nah, I'll just let them do the fight for me.
We'll go run dogs.
Yep, exactly.
I'll go run dogs, and then they'll ask me, so what did you guys do?
Exactly.
Well, I'm one voice.
I'll be honest, I was just like that before I ever got serious. I was, and then I realized it was a wake-up call. When I started actually looking around for real, because you just take it for granted.
You take it all for granted.
You take it all for granted, especially in the West. Yep. And so when I started learning more about it and hearing the battles that, like, Wisconsin, it's a non-stop fight. I mean, every year, it's just tons of new laws. And so it's just creeping this way.
Yeah.
It's creeping in from the West, and it's creeping in from the East.
That's what's happening. Like Arizona, they just banned trail camera use. No trail camera use allowed in the state of Arizona. They just passed that.
How do you feel about it? You don't.
I don't support it. I support maybe no cellular camera use.
Yeah.
Which kind of gives you an upper advantage. But cameras, you got to go back into the woods and check your cards.
I love trail cameras.
I mean, they're a great tool.
Oh my god!
And not only are they a great tool, you get some cool pictures. I have just stuff you don't even expect.
Exactly. I have thousands of them out at my work. Well, hundreds of them out at my work, and the things they capture, and it's just random. It's not even, we don't even have them on hotspots. Just open desert. The things you see out there is incredible. And I love trail cameras. Every time you crack one open, it's going to be an adventure.
Yeah, it is. I go hit mine up, and it's like 3,000 pigs. Whoa.
Yes. And then you find out 2,980 of them are blowing in the wind.
And a squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The ethics debate could literally be non-ending. We could sit here until me and you die from old age talking about that, because people, what is fair and what's not? How many times have you heard that, like, hunting with hounds is unfair?
Oh, all kinds. All kinds of times. They don't understand. People hate what they don't understand.
Exactly.
And you can't understand it unless you immerse yourself into it a little bit.
Totally agree. You got to be open-minded enough to allow yourself to go out and do stuff.
And go do
try
stuff.
New things.
Yeah. You got to realize these animals, this is what they were bred to do. Yeah. This is their job. They're working dogs. They're working animals. And they've been doing this for centuries for us.
Thousands of years in my case.
Thousands and thousands of years. In your case, I mean, it starts in the Middle East with your guys' hounds. I mean, that's a long time ago.
And I think the best way I've had experience with getting people to come out and join us is explaining how fun it is for the dogs.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's here letting them dogs and getting them out there and listening to them. That's the whole thing. They talking to you, and
I think that's our best way. I think especially in New Mexico, we already have a pretty rich outdoor lifestyle and rich outdoor communities. For at least the New Mexico Houndsmen Association, like, when we have the chance to do those kinds of like outreach things, is showcase like I think bringing your dogs to those events,
went over really well. We had, at our booth, the kids.
Jax is adorable.
The kids that would come, and just the parents, and people were like, "What kind of dog is this? What kind of dog is that?" Yeah. They have some good conversations and had some positive news, and it was a great time. Honestly, Perfect. It was a great time. We were asked back, and they were like, "Bring your dogs back."
Definitely.
And because they were just so well behaved, and people were like surprised. Some people were like, "I just thought the hounds just barked all the time," and it's like, no.
Yeah, even in the big game hunting community, it always blows me away how much anti-hound sentiment there are. And I'm like, even if it's not for you, you got to understand that we need to all be together in this.
And I
firmly believe that. Like, I used to just kind of like, whatever. You hear that, and then you need to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trap, and I never have trapped, but I stand with trappers 100%.
I do as well. I stand behind our bow hunters, behind our rifle hunters.
I too am both of those.
Our bird dog guys. Yeah, I do it all too. I do it all. I enjoy. I bow hunted for 30 years of my life without picking up a gun. I was 100% strictly bow, and man.
Back when you could draw.
Back when I could draw a bow.
No, back when you could draw a tag.
Oh, when I could, yeah. I know. Well, I started bow hunting when you could buy them over the counter, buddy.
Oh, man.
I used to go get a bow tag at Walmart or at, what was his name there? Bob Girdings up there in Albuquerque. I used to go there and get a bow tag and cruise up to the Sandia Mountains that same afternoon.
Could you get a deer-bear combo at that time? Or was
you could buy over the counters for both species, yeah.
Man.
And pretty much I cut my teeth learning how to bow hunt in the Sandia foothills.
That's a great spot, too.
In like the 80s.
That's a great spot.
It's a perfect place to learn how to bow hunt.
Yeah.
It really honestly is. It's just so many opportunities, so many blown opportunities.
Oh, man.
You learn so much.
That's bow hunting, though. You're going to miss.
I was addicted to that.
Me too. That's why I love my flintlock.
I want to get 10 yards away.
Yep.
And if I can get 5, I'm going to get 5 yards away. That's... Yeah.
Yeah, what were you shooting? What bow were you shooting?
I was shooting an old PSE Fireflight is what it was. And it was like a Ted Nugent bow. It was painted with white with the zebra stripes on it. And I used that bow, I got that bow in probably 1982. And I used that bow all the way into the mid-90s until I got upgraded to something. Everybody else, fast. They're so fast. It's like, I shoot a deer every year. It doesn't matter how fast my bow is.
My dad shot, when 3D was real big, and like Matthews solo cams were like all the rage.
I remember when those solo cams came out.
Yeah, so my dad shot a Matthews bow with fingers and just pin sights for ever. That's all he shot.
One of my buddies, no peep sight, no nothing. Just pins and
fingers.
One of my buddies shoots like that.
Yep, that's my dad. It would drive those dudes crazy. They have like all the crazy releases and the adjustable optic sights and stuff.
Too much going on. And this has to be fixed, and this has to be toned in, and this has to be tuned to this.
I'm too lazy for that. I just want a stick and an arrow. You know what I mean? Like a stick with a string and a little feathery arrow.
Yep.
The longbow has been a blast. I love it. I've been shooting that for a long time.
Fun.
Yeah, my next one I want to shoot is with a fist rest, where the fist is actually the arrow rest.
That's how my recurve is. Has that fist rest right there, which is nice.
Well, I want to see you get a coon with it when I come down here.
Well, we'll just take them both out then.
Me and you are just barraging arrows missing.
We'll get one each or something. We gotta make sure they're boars though. I don't like to shoot them out unless they're nice big boars.
Yeah. Well. Okay, so how do you tell? In the wintertime? Is it just size, or can you actually see their genitalia?
I kind of judge by size. You can't really
Yeah.
sex a coon in a tree. I mean, I judge by size. If it's big, that's a boar. Yeah. You know, and it just sometimes their heads are a little bit more blocky, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I just go by size. I shoot out maybe 3 or 4 a year, and they're usually big coons. I'd like to leave the sows to raise the kits.
Yeah, of course.
So we could chase the kits next year.
You know, that's the thing, too, is it's impossible to sex a jackrabbit.
Oh, yeah.
They're busting out of the brush at 35 miles an hour in the first second, and they're gone, and you send the hounds, and you hope it's a male. I always hope they're boys. Yep. Because the males, when you kill a female, you're just
taking away from next year.
Yeah, and so, it's part of it, and luckily hares are pretty reproductive.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're very famous for that.
Yes.
And so it's not the end of the world, but I always prefer to go for a male if I can.
Oh, definitely. I mean, with anything, I think that's the way I hunt anyway. Is I want a male. I'm gonna get a big tom or a boar, and if not, they walk. They get to go.
So one thing I hated when me and Lauren actually did get the dogs treed in one area that was like all willows and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it true that the coons will go up a tree and walk the tops?
They'll jump from tree to tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually seen them. They'll tree in one tree and they'll jump 3 or 4 or 5 trees over. And your dogs will be treeing on that tree, and that coon will be over there 3 or 4 or 5 trees looking back at you.
And you see it with your headlamp just aimed up?
And you can see it with your headlamp. And I've seen them in the daytime when we're hunting in the mornings in a broad daylight, jump from 4 or 5 trees. Just jump across. Doom, 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 doom. And the dogs would just stay treeing where they were, and then the coon would go down another tree, and I'd have to pull the dogs off and go to that other tree, and then and the whole race would be going on again. It's like, look at that.
That'd be sweet. I'd actually love to see that.
Jumping, it was crazy. It was like a flying squirrel, man.
I bet they're way more athletic than you think.
Oh, yeah. Pretty resilient and athletic animals, yeah.
So what do you think is a common trick they pull out here to try to shake dogs off? Or do you think they just tree or run? Or
I think the common trick that they do on us is they'll jump. They'll jump the tree, or they'll try to cross the ditch and get through the water and cross to the other side of the field. It's like, 'cause my dogs won't. They've been trained to where they won't cross onto that private property, but they'll go in that ditch.
Oh yeah.
We'll have some fights in the water, but most of the time I think they jump on us, or they'd go stash in a den.
Gotcha. Do you prefer a dog that bays a coon or a dog that catches a coon on the ground? Would you rather have one that only bays and will like push the coon up a tree if it's on the ground, or do you want a dog that will just catch it?
I like hardcore tree dogs. I mean,
that's how Lauren is too.
Yeah, I like hardcore tree dogs. So if my dogs want to catch a coon on the ground, I mean, that's all good. I don't catch a lot of. Another gentleman do, but I don't catch a lot of coons on the ground. I don't know why.
Do you need a faster dog or a quieter dog, or?
I think the whole thing is a quieter dog. Like Boomer, he's
just run up on him.
He's real quiet, and the reason why I think he's quiet is because he wants to catch that coon on the ground.
Got it.
So he won't open up and tell me what he's doing when he's chasing a coon. So it's like a guessing game until he's treed, and he'll bark a little bit, letting me know, and it's like, well, what happened to the race?
Yeah.
That's the fun part. Now you're treed way over there.
Yeah.
But I think that's why he runs so quiet, is because he's trying to catch it on the ground. I got another buddy, Scott. He's got a dog, Jax's brother, Trap. He's quiet like that too, and he covered ground, and he likes to catch him on the ground and just tear him up instead of treeing on him.
Instead of putting him up. Yeah, Lauren's dogs actually caught the coon on the ground.
They keep them bayed,
barking at him. Yeah, but you can't, dude. I walked down into that cattails, and they were like 2 feet in front of me. You can't see them.
Oh yeah.
You can't see anything.
So thick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great, and the water's disgusting too.
Oh, I'm sure. Nice
dogs
stinky water.
Oh, dude, those dogs were horrible.
We go home pretty smelly some nights, man.
Oh man, yeah. And that's the thing that I thought was the coolest. Honestly, the coolest thing about coon hunting I really liked is how you were telling me everything Jax was doing just by the sounds that she was making off in the dark.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's amazing that you can speak like
you learn your dog's language and what they're doing. You learn. They're telling you what they're doing out there.
And that's so cool.
Whether it's getting hotter, whether it's getting cold, whether they're on its butt.
Yeah.
I
love it. That's so cool. And I feel I was like hoping I wasn't annoying you guys, because the whole time all I could do was just be like, what's happening now? Like, what's happening now? And especially with Lauren, when it was me and her hunting together.
Oh, I bet.
What are they doing? What are they doing? And then the cool thing is that she would say what they're doing, and then I'd look at my GPS, and that's
what they'd be doing.
That's what they're doing, and I'm like, dang, that's so rad. And I wonder if we've gotten to this next level of hound awareness because of those GPS collars.
I think they're great tools to keep your dog safe. I mean, I don't like to run next to the roads or the bridges, or anything like that. But yeah, they're definitely, once you got them trained to tone back, and you get them trained to tone back, and they'll come back. No, my dogs will come back no matter what. In the middle of a race, they'll come back.
That's how Lauren's dogs were. If my dogs are on a jackrabbit, forget it. They're going.
Yeah,
mine. You're never gonna.
I can call them off the tree, and I can call them off the chase. I hate to do it because sometimes I don't know what they're after,
exactly,
and I don't want to call them off something that I want them to get on.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like, damn. I'm not going in there.
Yeah, that's exactly. Lauren was like, "Oh yeah, Ridge was treed," and we walked up to where they were treed, just willow. just wall of willows and salt cedars. And she
there.
was just like, nope, I'll stand out here. And I went through it. It was the worst experience of my like entire hound hunting life.
I've gotten lost on this bosque in the middle of the night doing thick stuff, and then I get to the point where I look at my GPS and think, nah, how can that be right?
Exactly.
My truck's not over there, or the road's not over there, and I'll start wandering around, and all of a sudden it'll be the Rio Grande River. I'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
The GPS is right, you dummy.
I got turned around on the hunt.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, I think it's this way, but we were on that trail, luckily.
Yeah.
But even still, I was totally turned around. That's what I was telling Liz on the drive up here. I was like, you could get turned around in there at night.
Oh, big time.
I don't know how
big
this
time. I do it all the time. So sometimes I wander just up and down like this, trying to find the road, not realizing, I'm going north and south.
Yeah.
I need to take a right. And then, oh, look, here's a road. I'm like, dang,
I really respect, but don't envy, hunting before those collars. Really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, like our UKC hunts, we can't use the GPSs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no GPS is allowed. So
yeah, wait. No, I knew that. Duh.
Yeah.
We weren't using them. Duh. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I was still like kind of like
the poor boy club hunts will allow GPS use, but you can't use them to call your dog's treat or anything like that. But on the UKC hunts, they stay off.
I remember, you guys took them off. That's right.
Yeah, they stay off, and everything's you got to know your dog.
Yeah,
you got to
which
know
everyone did. That's what was cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
And even
when everybody knows their own dog and they know what's going on, it's a real blast.
That guy, I don't remember his name, but he had the black and tan running in there, and her bark was just so different than Jackson's.
Oh yeah, she had what is his name? Rex.
Yeah,
Rex with Game and Fish. Yeah, Mr. Rex. He has a beautiful black and tan.
Yeah.
And she's a good little coon dog. She was kicking some butt.
They were all treeing quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then I'd get
there was scent everywhere.
Yes. Well, there's mulberries. I mean,
so there was scent all over everything in there that night. So.
Yeah, I heard Chris talking about in his scent episode about like a lot of like slick trees or where the coon was just sitting there eating for hours.
Yeah.
And then it may have left, but that scent is just
stays in that tree.
So strong, and I guarantee that's got to happen in those mulberry stands.
Yeah, and then we hit all them community bathrooms.
Yes. Yeah, it was crazy too. I knew that Javelina did that, but I didn't know coons did that.
Yeah,
and that whole log was just a giant.
They all go and they use a communal bathroom. And then that way, when the next one comes and visits, they know who's been there and who's done what and what they're up to, and he'll be back about this time, and
that's your calling
crazy,
card.
Huh? Yeah, that's their calling card, exactly.
I'm glad people aren't like that. You go to the
me
club,
too.
Just take
that'd
a dump.
Be a drag.
Seth was here.
Yeah.
No, you just graffiti on the wall in the bathroom. That's
somebody come over your house and just lay one on your porch. Yeah. Oh, JoJo was here.
I'm so glad. Yeah, thanks, bud. And then you're gonna have to go on top so when they come back next time.
That's right.
Man, Fred was out exploring and having a good time. Has he texted you?
Yeah, he's been calling me.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I wonder if he's home.
He's home.
Well, let's roll. What do you think? Home. You got any last things to say, brother?
You
got any last final thoughts? You got any questions? You got anything you want to say? Dude, your dog skull tattoo is sweet.
Oh, the coyote?
Oh, yeah. Canid skull. Yeah.
Yeah, everything on this arm that I have tattooed is I shot with a bow.
Oh, sweet.
Everything on it. The carp, bear.
Is that a hobo? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, hobos are lucky. I almost got one the other night with my 40. I'm a world record Muflon ram. I shot once.
Oh, sweet.
My elk back there, too.
Oh, yeah. That's badass.
Yeah. Yeah, but that dog skull's pretty cool. I traded a bicycle for that. So this guy, John, he traded, I won't give you a mountain bike, you give me a tattoo. Okay.
I once traded a AK for a mountain bike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. America.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, heck, man, let's roll up to Fred's house. We can keep this going, man. I really appreciate it. And this has been something I've really wanted to do for a long time, and I'm coming back in the fall.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we're going to let some shafts
fly.
Yeah,
we'll just have to come out, and you'll just have to come out and go hunting with me one good morning, half the day or something, and just go have a blast. And
those winter days are easy. You know
yeah.
Perfect. I mean, we still hunt in the evening or in the morning, but I'll just camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did that. I ended up camping in Bernardo by the just north of Sevietta's border. I just pulled my truck over and just slept in the back of the truck. I was so tired.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's what I told you. You could have stayed up there, man.
I wanted to get up there because I was gonna go check out some prairie.
Yeah.
Just like south of the plains of San Augustine.
Yep.
Like southeast of
of there.
But Yeah, too rocky.
Too rocky out there. Yeah, they're nice and flat, but then you got them rocks sticking up
It's
all
like
over
that
the ground.
igneous rock everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That is a toe crusher.
Oh yeah, you don't want that.
Well, dude, I really appreciate this, man, and you be on the show anytime you want. You'll be on again when we hunt again, but man,
Appreciate it, Seth.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Great seeing you.